Infernal greetings, Ave Satanas. I'm just sitting here this afternoon, enjoying a little scotch, having a nice, smooth and smoky Highland Park. Good stuff. Now, this video is going to be pretty casual and unscripted and hopefully unedited. It's mostly going to be about my book, but I should mention something at the beginning. Just because all of my previous videos I was representing the Satanic Temple. I'm still a supporter of the Satanic Temple and all that, but I'm not doing that volunteer position anymore. So now I'm strictly independent. I'll always support the sort of political actions that they're doing, because that's something that I very strongly believe in, and I have for years, before they even existed. And I always will. But the more left-hand path thing to do, I think, is go my own way, forge my own path, so to speak. And part of doing that was writing this book. This is the print proof. The official release date is October 6th, though I think some people have managed to get a little earlier ship date on the print book. This, while very short, it's condensed, I would say. I trimmed it down to where there is no filler, no break in the action, so to speak. It's just concentrated philosophy from beginning to end. I throw a lot at the reader rapid fire, so it's probably something where you have to read through it once just to get the basic idea, and then give it some thought, read through it a second time, and that's probably what it takes to really digest it and get the full depth of what I'm talking about in here. So the reason that I was writing it, I go over in the prologue. It's mostly just because I wasn't really satisfied with the foundational satanic texts that are out there. The main one that people have read is the original Satanic Bible, written by Anton Szandor LaVey. Now, there are a lot of problems in that book. I don't go into details about the problems in my book, just a brief overview of that fact. But there was a lot of social Darwinism, and he plagiarized the Ragnar Redbeard book, and it was a little too Ayn Rand and that sort of thing, and I thought the writing could have been better, honestly. But it was historical. It did a lot for Satanism, and LaVey's initial idea was pretty fucking cool. So I think taking the idea of Satanism and making something out of it that I think is a little more philosophically defensible, has more logic to it and that sort of thing. I think that's a good thing, and that's what I set out to do, and hopefully what I achieved. So I think what I'll do now is read from the prologue, just to give you an idea of what's in here. You can see most of the prologue in the preview in a couple of places. Amazon has that look inside thing active on there now, and Kobo has a preview too. Both of them show you at least half the prologue, and then you also get to see a couple other random pages on the Amazon one. I've been planning on reading or releasing a version of the prologue in some way. I was thinking maybe on my website and then posting it on the different Facebook pages and groups and things like that at different times, but I don't know. I was wanting to do a video also, and so I think I'll just go ahead and read it. And by the way, I will be doing an audio version of the book in the future. It's mostly for people who are into Satanism who happen to be visually impaired, but you know, even for sighted people, it should be an interesting experience to hear the way that I say it. So anyway, this is the prologue. Satanism, as a religion, philosophy, and worldview, acts as a summation of all aspects of who I am. This is the first of two primary reasons for the existence of this textual actualization of foundational Satanic philosophy. The other reason prompting me to start writing is much more basic, ordinary, and practical. There simply is not a book of this sort yet in existence. There are numerous similar books, but nothing that expresses my particular variation of Satanism. Satanism combines a number of different things into one, or at least some variations do. My variation is all-encompassing. It incorporates philosophies for understanding objective reality, subjective experience, morality and ethics, and even my personality. There is also a lack of quality Satanic philosophy. The book most people identify with, the Satanic Bible, has its good points, but it is outdated and full of flaws. Anton Szandor LaVey had a few good ideas, which were never utilized to their full potential. He also had a lot of bad ideas and poor execution, which held him back. Those problems can be corrected. There is much that we now know that was not known back in the 1960s. The original Satanic Bible can be improved, both philosophically and linguistically. The dreadful misunderstanding of natural selection can also be corrected by incorporating selection by group survival, and our status as a social species. It was this misunderstanding by LaVey, Rand, and Redbeard which resulted in the social Darwinism that permeated their philosophies. Their idea was that the natural world was the only place to look for secular morality. Their understanding of natural selection was that the strongest and fittest on an individual level are the ones that survive. However, they overlooked species that had survival mechanisms built into their social structure. Humans are one such species that fall into this category. I offer a superior implementation of secular morality, in part by correcting this oversight. I begin with some of LaVey's ideas as a starting point, but the similarity will end there. Other than ideas about Satan as the adversary, looking to the natural world for the origins of our being, and understanding and accepting humanity as it is, this will be very different. I am not saying this is the only true Satanism. There are only a few basic ideas that are definitive of Satanism in all its variations. This is just my variation, and I provide reasons why it resonates with me. So, read on, take in and consider the information presented, and see if it resonates with you as well. Ave Satanas. So there you have it. That's the prologue. It explains basically what I'm doing with this. After that is the introduction to Satan. It's a good intro to Satanism for people who don't know much about it. Clears up some misconceptions, give people an understanding of where I'm coming from, like the fact that this is a religion and philosophy that are entirely atheistic, and in fact completely non-supernatural, I should add. Then, after the topic is introduced, we get into the narratives. There's the narrative of Satan, which is mostly about that adversarial archetype, the root of this whole thing. It's about being the one who opposes and rebellion and that sort of thing. Then next is the narrative of Baal, which is about being the outcast, the outsider, the hated other, that sort of thing, and embracing being that. Then next we have the narrative of Lucifer, which is one of the longer narratives that's in there. There's a lot to cover in that. There's a lot of stuff about atheism, anti-theism, skepticism, and some other philosophical concepts like that in there. And it all leads up to this human-centric focus and the proliferation of knowledge and wisdom, which is definitely what the Lucifer character stands for and what it brings to the archetype. Then next is the narrative of Baphomet, and that's about balance and kind of that you can't see the world in black and white or in dichotomies, and that there's a lot in between the two extremes, and that the two things on either end of the spectrum, like good and evil, may not actually literally exist at all, and it's the spectrum in between those things that actually exists. And it's about the natural world and the nature of humanity. So I did the moral philosophy in there. The moral philosophy is almost kind of a combination of things that fit in with the Lucifer archetype and the Baphomet archetype, though. It's and really it's just a way to organize the philosophy and to demonstrate the characteristics of these different aspects of the archetype. So I go over the moral philosophy and that sort of thing in that one, and I get into secular ethics, and I endorse the Satanic Temple's 7 tenets in there. As I say in the book, there's no reason to reinvent the wheel, and they have a very nice set of secular ethics that they created, and it's a very formulaic thing anyway. They're all kind of they're all very similar. So I figured, this one's pretty well known, so I'll just endorse that. And I know a lot of people who are excited about this book are big TST fans anyway, so I thought that was something they would like, and it totally fits in with my philosophy. I mean, that's why I got involved with the Satanic Temple a while back, anyhow. So then, after Baphomet, we come to the narrative of the Leviathan. And that's about community. It's that sort of communal aspect of religion, and the idea that we can achieve more together than apart. Now, that's not to say that we blindly follow anything, because that's completely unsatanic. What it is people who are individuals doing their own thing, but happen to have coinciding interests. So working together just makes sense, because we just happen to think about things the same way, have the same goals, and that sort of thing. So it's about that, and introduces the concepts of kind of optional ritual and that sort of thing, if you wish to partake in that. I just introduced the basic ideas of it, though, because that I feel is so very much up to the individual that I don't go into a lot of detail with it. Then after that is the narrative of Belial. Belial's about individualism mostly. It's a sort of personification of the left-hand path. And it's about that. I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory. Everyone into Satanism should be pretty familiar with that idea. But I tie it into how that contributes to accomplishing things, and your journey along the left-hand path, and the fulfillment of self, and how it ties into community, where the most important members of a community are the individualists, the people that are forging new paths and that sort of thing. Then next is the narrative of Pan, and that's basically hedonism, I would say. That's a big part of Satanism, is the enjoying of pleasure, and it's about just doing what you like to do. As long as it's not hurting anyone else, just go for it. Anything you can think of, but I specifically mentioned things like sex because traditional religion has always had a problem with that, but it's very much embraced in Satanism, and I think that's an important part of it. Next is the narrative of Loki, and that's about humor and cunning and maybe trickery, if needed, a little bit of trolling. It's a good methodology for activism, and it keeps life interesting. Humor makes life much better, I think. So that's the narratives, and then I get into the epilogue, which ties the whole thing together. And I just, basically just ties the whole thing together. And so that's it. Now, later on, of course, I could definitely expand on these ideas, and particularly I could make something about applying Satanism to your life, situations that come up in life, and how Satanic philosophy can apply to that, and possibly even aid you in that. So there's a lot that I can do with it later, but I thought it was best to keep this one brief and easy to read, so that people can quickly get a basic understanding of this religion and philosophy, and not have to wade through anything long and tedious. And there's no filler in here like in the Satanic Bible, the original. In here, it's just pure philosophy. There's no lists of demons in here, no rituals, no magic, this, that, and the other thing, and yeah, just pure philosophy. And it's slightly longer than the actual philosophy part of LaVey's book, and that's being generous, and considering the Book of Satan that was just lifted from Redbeard's book Might Is Right as being philosophy. So, in conclusion, enjoy the book and hail Satan.